Okay, so reflection, stretching, and shrinking. We have one last type, okay, of the transformation. It's called translation. So when they say transformation, it includes these three things: reflection, stretch and shrink, that's count as one, and translation, okay? So we want to finish translation today so you have a complete package, okay, for the transformation. So translation is got to do with moving things around, okay? So moving to the left, to the right, up and down, okay? We have seen that in parabolas, like when you learn in grade 11, it changes the vertex of a parabola, right? So that's why here we're gonna start with a quadratic function or parabola, right? This is something that you are familiar with, right? So if you look at the vertex form, if you remember, right? If you compare the question that we are looking at right now, y equal x squared minus 3, and you compare with this vertex form, okay, can you tell me where is the vertex? Okay, Daniel, where do you think this parabola has the vertex at?
Wait, what was the question, Jason?
Where is this vertex? Like, where is the vertex for this parabola?
Do you have to like put it into vertex form first and then you can get the vertex?
Yeah, normally, yes, we need to do that. But for this one, this is already in the vertex form, except it's a simpler, it's a simplified version of it.
So is the vertex then 0, comma, -3?
That's right, very good. Okay, so this is the same as having P as 0, Q is -3, right? When P is 0, then you don't need to write a bracket. It will just be x squared, right? So we already know this one has a vertex at 0, -3. And this one will open up or down, Eric?
Would it be up
How do you know it opens up?
because there's no negative?
Which number do you look at?
The x squared.
Yes, okay, so for x squared, there's no negative at the front, so our a value, right, this a controls open up and down. All right, so that's a review, right? What if it's a square root, right? It will be something different. So we want to apply the transformation rule, want to figure out a rule for our translation. So we can not only apply to parabola, we can apply to absolute value, apply to other ones, like radicals, right? Rational, okay, any function. So let's pretend we don't know the vertex form, right? So we're just plugging points, right? So we just use the basic x value for parabola, right? This one has to do with y equal x squared, right? This is the basic, right? So the basic x for the parabola, right, is -4, -1, -2, sorry, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. Remember, these are the basic ones. And what are the y values, Marcus, for the basic?
Once you plug it in, you
No,
plug
you
it
don't
into
need
the
to plug
thing.
it in. The basic ones. The basic, you should memorize it. It's on the
Oh.
first page, right?
Wait, first page of what?
Of this topic.
Oh, I don't remember.
Well, look at the page, right? Look at your notes. Parabola, what are the basic points? Quadratic function. Page 18.
Oh. 410. Is that
Yeah,
41014?
yeah, 41014, right? Those are the basic. You need to memorize all the basic points, okay?
Okay.
So that's for this one, right? 41014. That's for the y equal x squared, okay? But for the one we are doing, right, we have an extra minus 3. So if you plug it in, right, for example, if I plug in negative 2 squared, it will be 4, right? 4 minus 3, then it will be negative, 4 minus 3 will be 1, right? So these y value will need to change. Okay, so you can plug in each of the x value into there. And then get the new y values. All right, so Nick, can you tell us the y value for these ones?
So would it be so 1,
That's the first one.
and then -2,
Yeah,
and then -3,
yeah,
and then -2,
yep.
and then 1.
Very good. Okay, so you just plug in each x values, then you get the new y values. Okay, so instead of 41014, we have 1, -2, -3, -2, 1. Okay, let's see what happens on the graph. So please plot it into your in your grid. Okay, once you've done that, you can raise your hand. Symmetrical, right? Should be done by now. Okay, can you raise your hand when you finished? Okay, are you done graph? Eric, Jocelyn, and Nick? Okay, so if you compare this graph with our basic, which is up here on page 20, right? This is the one that has without the -3, right? Compare that one with the one we just did. What's happened? How would you describe, right? What's happened to it, to the basic? Sophie, if you want to describe in words, what's happened to this graph compared to basic, what would you say?
Sorry, is my mic working?
Yeah, it's working.
Would it be moved down by 3?
That's right. Yeah. Okay. So every single point of your basic has been moved downwards by 3, right? So instead of using the word move, we use the word translate, right? So you can say translate three units down. Okay, you can say translate 3 units down, or you can say translate down by 3. Okay, either way. So we already know that the vertex has been moved, right, to 0, -3, right? That's for problem. But other graph, they don't have vertex. So how can I tell it's moving down, right? Down the direction. How can I tell how many units it moved? By just looking at the form. So just like before, right? We need to separate whatever that's affecting the y, you move it to the y side. Whatever that's with the x, you keep it with the x. Okay, so for this one, the -3 is outside the square, right? It's after the square. So that -3 is movable to the y side. We can move it to the y side by add 3, right? On both sides. So your form will now look like this. We add 3 to the left, okay? You move the -3 because this -3 is not inside the brackets with the x. So that -3 can be moved. So anything that's movable to the y side, it will affect the y. So because it's affect the y, so it's got to do with up and down. Okay, so if you see an adding, add a 3, it means it will be moving down. It tells you it's down, okay? So if you want to move up, then you'll see a -3. Why -3? We are talking about after you get the story form. Okay, not before. You have to change the story form first. Story form. And then you apply the rules. Okay, so I repeat that one more time. After you change the story form, if you see an add, it represents moving down. Okay, if it's on the y side, we're talking about to the y, right? Because y is up and down. So if you see something like y -3, then it will be moving up. Okay, are we clear on that? Can you raise your hand if you understand this rule? Because sometimes the mic might be breaking up. Okay, so make sure you only apply the rules after you get a story form. Okay, Caleb, Daniel, Jocelyn, your shirt. Okay, so that's for up and down, okay? I use the moving down as an example here. If it's moving up, then you will see y -3, okay? Now we go to the right side. So this time you also have a -3, but this -3 is inside the bracket, right? So is this -3 movable to the y side? I'll repeat that question again. Is this -3 movable to the y side? Jenny?
No, because it's in the bracket.
Yeah, in the bracket, right? So not movable. So what do you think it will do to the graph then? If it's movable to the y side, then it's gonna move up and down. So if it's with the x, this time is with the x. Which way is it gonna move? Susan, what do you think?
Right 3.
Yeah, okay. So this one you can also apply the vertex idea to give you a clue, right? What's gonna happen? This one has a vertex as 3, 0, right? Because P is 3, P, right? So 3, 0. So it's gonna move your parabola to the right by 3. Okay. So if you see a subtract and it's with the x, then it's gonna be translate 3 units to the right. Okay, so if it's minus, it'll be moving to the right. Okay, so it's gonna affect your x value. So all your x needs to move to the right. Moving to the right, it gets bigger. Right, so all your basic graph, right, basic points. Let's write out the basic points again. We want to move all the x to the right by 3. Okay, so your x value will change. We want to move them to the right by 3. So please get a new table for this one and then raise your hand. Okay, Evan, do you know how to get the new x values?
Don't you just subtract subtract the x by 3?
If we want to move points to the right side, moving to the right, it should get bigger and bigger. So you need to add 3. Okay? Like
Okay.
-2 is on here, right? -2 is here. And then if you move it to the right by 3, 1, 2, 3, it will become what?
1.
1, okay? So you have to think about the directions in order to figure out if you want to add or subtract to the numbers, okay? If you want to go up, then you need to add as well, right? Going up, it gets higher. Higher means bigger, right? Going to the right is moving towards the positive, right? So it has to add as well, get bigger and bigger. So remember, do not sub the points into the equations, right? Because the equation tells you to subtract. Very confusing, right? That's why I leave this one at the end. Okay, so what's the next point, Evan?
2,
Yeah, go on.
3, 4, and 5.
Yeah. Okay, so all the x value shifted to the right side. So the subtraction in the equation just tells you the direction, but then the direction tells you what to do to the point. Okay, so if you look at both table, on the left side, right, you see y plus 3. It means plus means down because with the y, and down means you need to subtract the y values, right? 4 subtract 3 will be 1 and so on. Same thing with the x part, right? If it's x, you see a subtract. Subtract tells you it's moving to the right. Moving to the right tells you to add. Okay, can you raise your hand if you finish the table? Okay, Claire and Jenny. So there's nothing movable to the y side, right? So that's why the y values stay the same, 41014. That's why you need to memorize the basic points, okay? So there's no plugging in at all. You need to know how to get points without plugging in numbers. So let's draw the graph. 1, 4. 1, 4 will be here. 2, 1. 3, 0, right? And then here, symmetrical. Okay, so you can see that it shifted to the right. And you want to double check, right? If you really want to double check if the points make sense, you can plug in the 1, right, into our question, right? 1 minus 3 is -2. Square, you get 4, right? It matches. You can try each point, right? Each point should work in the equation, okay? Any question here? So the left side has to do with up and down, right? If anything movable to the y side is moving up and down. If it stays with the x, it's either moving to the left or right. So let's make a conclusion, okay? Justin, are you done with the graph?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so let's make a conclusion on the top. Remember, for each part, we have a conclusion, right? For the reflection, we put it at the bottom of the page, right? Reflection, we have the negative with x, negative with y, inverse, right? Those ones. By the way, for the homework, when you answer reflection, you don't need to write negative with x. Okay, I saw that in homework 5, some of you wrote down negative with x. Negative with x is not part of the answer. It's a rule to help you figure out, okay? When you answer, you just write reflect over something. Okay, so that's rule for reflection. And then we have rule for stretching, right, over there. Now we should have rule for the translation, okay? So same thing, we're gonna put it at the very bottom. Easy for you to find, okay? So T. So the rule is to tell the direction, okay? If you see a plus, right? If you see a plus, that means it will be moving down if it's with a y, right? If you see a plus here, right? Instead of x minus 3, if you see a plus 3, what does that mean then, Chris?
Translate left.
Yeah, then it will be moving to the left, right? So if you see a plus, it will be either moving to the left or moving to the down, right? Downwards, depending on is it with the x or y. Okay, x plus will be left, y plus will be down. Okay, so plus means either left or down, right? So let's write that down. So if you see an adding, then it tells you the graph will be going to the left or going downwards. Okay. And then the other way around, right? Opposite. So if you see a subtract, then it will be moving which way then? Eric, if you see a subtraction?
It'll go right or up.
Yeah, right or up. Okay, so for example, just in case you forget what it means, for moving left, then you will need to see x plus something. Right? If you want to move down, then you need to see y plus something. Okay, same with the subtract. Moving to the right, you want to see x minus something. Up, y minus something. Okay, so just remember this one. Add means left and down, subtract, right and up. And then once you know the direction, then you will know what to do with the points, okay? Moving to the right or moving up, the points need to get bigger. Moving left, moving down, the points should get smaller, right? Okay, can you raise your hand when you finish writing down this rule? So looking at it just individually is easy, right? The hard part comes when you mix everything together. Okay, please raise your hand when you finish writing the rule. We're gonna try some questions. Okay, Philip, are you done writing?
Almost 1 second.
Okay.
All right, I'm done.
All right. Okay, so let's take a look an example now, right? So the common question is usually they will mix up. Okay, so what you learned before, the reflection, stretching is going to combine together. So usually at school, right, you'll get question like that. There's no story form, right? You need to start writing out RST. Okay, same with this. Okay, but with the story form, you get to separate. Okay, you will see which part affects X, which part affects the Y. Okay, so you can skip the story form once you can do 100%, right, with the story form. Okay, get 100% of the time, and you can do that in the head. Right, so this part, so I would like you to first try to separate anything that's movable to the Y side. You move it over, okay? So the thing that's extra, you have the -2, right? You have the +4. All right, so please move it over to the left side. You want to keep the X part, right? The X squared part by itself. All right, so once you got that, please raise your hand. Isolate X squared, right? Because X squared is the X part. So your goal, right, for your form, you should have something like this, the Y part and the X part squared, right? Because that's the quadratic family, right? Quadratic basic. How you identify which part's movable, you look at which part is in the bracket or not, right? Is it inside the square or outside the square? If it's outside the square, then it will be movable. Right? This square only affects the X, right? So X is clean. Anything else has to be moved. Okay, please raise your hand after the moving, after you get a story form. Okay, Jenny, can you give it a try? What have you got so far?
Oh, sorry, I forgot to unmute.
Yeah,
I think y divided by -2 equals, -4 equals x to the power of 2, but I'm not sure if that's right.
can you say that one more time? Y,
Y divided by -2 -4 equals x squared, but I'm not sure if that's right.
okay, so let's think about this way, okay? If I have 5 equal to -2x plus 4. Okay, look at this question. Okay, 5 equal -2x plus 4. And I want you to isolate x, right? Solve for x. What would you do first?
I would subtract first, I think.
Yeah, you need to move the 4 over to the left side first, right? So it will become what?
It would be 1.
Yeah, so 5 minus 4, that will be 1, right? Make sense so far?
Yep.
Okay, and what would you do after that?
Divided by 2, -2.
Yes, so it becomes
1 divided by -2.
equals to x. Make sense?
Yep.
Okay, so we want to do similar thing like that. So instead of having a 5, we have what? Instead of 5, what do we have? We have the y, right?
Yeah.
Instead of having the x, we have the x squared. Okay?
Mhm.
So we want to isolate the x squared. We want to keep the x squared by itself. So how would you do that?
Start by subtracting the 4, so it'd be y over 4 divided by -2.
Y, say that one more time. It will be,
Y minus 4 divided by -2.
okay. So y minus 4 over -2. Make sense?
Mhm.
Okay, and the x part has nothing in the bracket. Got it?
Yep.
Okay, so that's the story form we want. Okay, make sure the order is important. You have to move the plus or minus to the other side first. All right, does anyone have question about getting the form? Can you raise your hand once you got the form? Remember, getting the form correct, then you are like 85% correct on the question, right? Eric, Evan, have you got it? Eric? Okay. All right, so now we need to use the form and tell the story, okay? When you describe the story, right, transformation, describe transformation, go in order. You start with R. So look at the form. Do you have any reflection? And then S, do you get any expanding, compression, right? And then T is something we learned just now. You think about the rule we have here. Adding means left or down. Subtract means right or left up, right? Right or up. Okay, so please write it out in order. RST. Okay, raise your hand when you've done that. So for this question, everything is happening on the y side, right? Nothing happened on the x. Okay, Callum, do we have reflection?
Reflects over x-axis.
Yep, very good. Reflect over x-axis, we get a negative on the y side. Okay, and CZ, what's the S?
Vertically expand by 2.
Yep, very good. We have a number under the y, so it's vertically, it's bigger than 1, right? By 2, so it's expand. Okay, translation is a new one. What kind of translation do we have, Marcus?
Translate, is it 2 units to no, 2 units, I don't know which way though.
Okay, for translation, you need to look at where in the story form.
By y.
Okay, you don't need to tell me the numbers. You need to
Oh.
look at inside the story form, which part do you look at? Do you look at the -4 or do you look at the -2?
The -4.
Yeah, you need to look at the -4, right? So if you see a subtraction, what direction is it?
Right or up.
Okay, for this one, should it be right or up?
Up,
Because,
it's with the y.
yeah, very good. Okay, so you can say translate up, and how many steps? How many units?
-4.
No, just 4.
Or just
Okay.
4.
Yes, because the subtract tells you it's moving up. And then the number of steps, then it's the number after that. Okay, so by 4. Understand? Okay. So if that -4 is on the x side, then it will be moving to the right by 4. Okay, so just remember the rule. If it's subtract, it will be either right or up. All right, let's go to the next questions. Jenny, Evan, Justin, have you all got this?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so, okay, we won't do the points yet, okay? Let's go to the next one. We need to know how to get the story form, okay, correct. This time, the square, it's a square again, right? But everything is in the bracket, so everything is with the x. Nothing is movable, right? Because you have a square that wraps around everything. The form that we want to get is still the same, right? So if you look at the form that we have before, right, the last one, the y has to be clean, right? Just one y add or subtract, right, over something. So same with this one, we need to have x add or subtract over something, okay? The y is clean, so y is by itself. All right, so please try to change into story form. This one a little bit harder, right? Because it has a 1/3 at the front. So at the beginning, right, it might take longer as you do more and more questions, okay? Your speed will start to increase. Okay, Angela, what do you think the form should look like?
X plus 1 over 3.
Like that?
Oh, yeah.
The square, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. What do you think, Sophie? What's your form look like?
I actually got the same thing as her.
Yeah, same, okay. And Chris, what about you?
I got that too.
Okay, so yeah, so this one is more difficult, okay?
Wait, Jason,
Yeah,
I got
Daniel?
something different.
Okay, what do you have?
I got x plus 3 over 3.
X plus 3 over 3, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so remember when we are changing the form, we shouldn't change the question, right? It's just look different. So think about if you have, think about the form that we want to get, right? On the left side, it has a +1, right? But then on the right side, the form that we want to get one fraction, one single one, okay? So when you try to do that, right? Let's write down this. Okay, so the steps here, 1 over 3x, if you want to add it with a 1, right? Adding fraction, you need to get common denominator. So you need to change the 1 into 3 over 3. Like that. Okay, so once you have that, the 1 over 3x is the same as x over 3 plus 3 over 3. Right? Then you can write it as x plus 3 over 3. So both of them have the same denominator, then you can combine the fraction together. Okay, so we're talking about the inside. Right? Inside, if you have two separate things, you need to get a common denominator and make sure your x is alone, right? X is just 1x. There's no number multiplying with it, okay? So it's not x plus 1 over 3, because that will be different, right? If it's x plus 1 over 3, if you split, it will be 1 over 3x plus 1 over 3. And that's different from the question, right? Then you have changed the question. We are just rewriting the form, okay? But you cannot change the question, okay? So be careful when there's a fraction like that. Okay, so that's our form. Now we want to write out the story, okay? So reflection. This one has no negative, right? So we can say this one has none. Okay, none. Okay, for the S, what kind of S do we have? Eric? What's the S for this question?
It's horizontally expand by 3, right?
Yeah. Okay. So horizontally expand by 3. Okay, and then T. Okay, Jenny, how do you do the T for this one?
Would it be x goes down by 3 units?
Well, X has to deal with which directions?
Oh, sorry, left and right. So it should be x goes left by 3 units.
That's right, very good. Okay, if you think adding is either down or left, but if it's with the X, it will be left. It'll be left 3 units. Okay, so your form has to be x plus something minus something over, right? And then if it's on the y side, same thing, okay? So in general, okay, I'll let you guys write this down first, right? Can you raise your hand if you finished writing this story? So you could have something happen on the y side and on the x side at the same time, okay? Please raise your hand if you finish copying all these down. What happened? Okay, Eric and Jenny, are you done writing? Okay, so let's combine everything together, right? So we finish RST. So in general, how do we interpret a combination of transformation? Okay, meaning you have R, S, T all together. So you want to change from this form, right? You see the F of something, right? So that's the X part. In the bracket, that's the X part. The one that's outside, that's the for the Y, right? You can move them to the Y side. And then you want to change it to this one, right? This looks nicer, right? You have a similar form on both sides. So the F can be anything. Could be square root, could be square, could be absolute value, could be anything, right? So here we use one more example, right? We use the square root as our basic, okay? So describe the transformation, okay, using the story form. So you need to keep the square root, okay? Do not make the square root go away. This is the square root family. So your first step is move anything that's movable to the Y side first. Okay, just move the things that's movable first. All right, so Evan, what would it look like after you move things to the left?
Is it y plus 3 over 2?
Yeah, very good. So that part is the easy one, right? We move the 3 and the 2 to the other side. The inside, I'm still keeping it there. Okay, inside is still not a story form because there's still a number beside a -3, right? That's not good. Now here's the key step, okay? To deal with the inside. If there's a number beside it, like -3, you want to move it down, but because there's a +6, you cannot just move it down. So what you need to do is to factor. Okay, so for the y part, I'll keep it the same, y plus 3 over 2. For inside, you factor a -3 out. So your x will be by itself. Okay? After you take out -3, what should be left in the bracket? Chris?
-2.
Yeah, should be x minus 2, right? When you factor it out, means you divide by a -3. Okay, 6 divided by -3, you get -2. Okay, can you raise your hand if you understand up to this step? Okay, Eric, any questions? All right, so once you get here, then you have one last step to do, okay? You just need to move the -3 away to the bottom, okay? So y plus 3 over 2 square root And then we move the -3 to the bottom. Okay, so Jenny, what will be the final look?
Would it be x minus 2 over 1 over 3? Negative 1 over 3?
Perfect. Okay, very good. So you need to take it out. Okay, the key point is you need to factor it out, make the x alone, right? Just one x before you move it down. Okay, so the mistake commonly that happens is you do x plus 6 over -1/3. That will be wrong. Okay, your translation will be wrong. You have to factor it out and then you move it down. All right. So we got our story form. Okay, that's the story form we want. So you need to recognize when are we done. Okay, when is it done? All right, so please write down the RST for this one. And then raise your hand. So you look at your final form. Look for reflection, stretch, and translation. So that is our story form. Please raise your hand when you finish the stories, the descriptions. Okay, Susan, what's the R?
Reflect over y-axis.
Yeah, reflect over y-axis. Yeah, okay, and then the S, Daniel?
Vertically expand by 2, horizontally compress by 1 over 3.
Okay, horizontal compress by 1/3. Very good. Okay, finally the translation. Marcus, can you try translation?
Would it be up 3 and then wait, no, would it be down 3 right 2?
Okay, very good. You corrected yourself. Good job. Okay, remember add is either up and down. Sorry, left and down, right? Subtract is right and up. Okay, so in the homework, I'll show you what the homework looks like. Okay, so each of the homework question, you need to change the story form. Okay, so homework will look something like this. I will ask you to do half of it first. Okay, to make sure you don't have some major mistake. Otherwise, if you get the same mistake for every question, you have too many mistakes, right? So it'll be similar like these. So remember, if you see like a square root, do not get rid of square root. It just tells you it's the radical kind, right? So for example, like question 8, right? There's a 2. So you need to factor and still keep it inside, right? You need to have f of 2, right? Something, or the +3 needs to move over, right? And then you need to move the 2 under. Okay, if there's a number before the x, right, you need to factor it out. Like question 6 already factored out for you. Okay. So I think I will assign the question on the left. Be careful on number 14. Okay, you can make a note on your book. This one, I'll let you think about what to do, right? The tricky part for number 14 is the 4 minus x is got mixed up, right? In the order is opposite. So think about what to do, right? What should we do with it? Because usually you should have x at the front, right? Yeah, I think that's the only one. So I will assign 1 to 15 on the left side. So you need to change the story form and then describe. Okay, so no graphing, just describe RST and story form. Okay, and I'm still missing homework from Marcus, so please stay after class. And also Caleb, I will just go over a couple questions with you in the homework. Okay, and if no question, I'll see you guys next week. All right.
Thank you, Jason.
Bye, Jason.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
you.
Have a good weekend.
Thank you, Jason. See you.
See you. Okay, so Caleb, you there?
Hello?
Yeah. Okay, so you handed in the homework, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, let me just quickly take a look, okay? See if there's anything that's major. Yeah, so for example, like 24. Can you take a look at 24?
Yeah.
Yeah, on your homework, what did you write?
Y, negative 2y is equal to f of x over 2.
Okay, do you know it's right or wrong?
Wrong.
Okay, can you correct it and let me know your correct answer?
Yeah, give me a second.
Okay, yeah, just want to make sure you don't do the same mistake on your next homework.
Okay, I finished doing it. Do you want me to tell you?
Yeah, you can tell me what's your 24.
Negative 2y is equal to f of x over half.
Okay, it's not completely done, it's 90% done because you cannot have a -2 beside the y. So what do you need to do as well?
Put it on the bottom.
How do we do that?
Y over negative 1/2.
Yeah, equals to,
F of x over half.
yeah, okay. So do you think that you could go straight from the question and then to the form that we want directly?
No.
The -1/2, you know it's gonna move to the other side, right?
Yeah.
So you can just divide it and then put it under the y,
Oh, okay.
right? And then the 2, you just put it under the x and flip it, right?
Okay.
Okay, so next time you can just do in one step.
Okay, because I prefer to do it by step to make sure that I got everything right.
Yeah,
so
that's all right. Yeah, you can do step by step, right? If you are not ready to do one step. Okay, so what's the story for this?
reflects over x-axis.
Yeah, and then
horizontally compresses by half and and vertically compresses by 1/2.
Yes, very good. Okay, and for your number 23, can you see the mistake?
I put y is equal to f of x over -1.
That's okay. Yeah, the story form is fine. What about the story? What would you say?
Oh, horizontally expand by 1.
If it's 1, would it change?
No.
So you
So
won't
there's
have
no story, there's no description then?
no description for expand or compress, but you have other things, right?
Yeah, reflects over y-axis.
Yeah, you didn't put that down, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so for this one, it only has reflection, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, so let's just, because I think almost every single one has mistake. I'm just picking a few of them, and then I'll return this homework for you to redo, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, 27. How do you fix this one?
Y over 3 is
Mhm.
equal to the absolute value of x over half.
Yeah, much better. Okay, and then what's the story?
Horizontally compress by half and vertically expand by 3.
Okay, very good. Yeah. Okay, 29.
Y is equal to f of 4 and 1/3 over x.
No, no. Okay, the 3x over 4, you can think of it as 3 over 4x. They are the same.
Okay. So we just flip it and get the reciprocal.
Yeah, so what do I write?
So y is equal to f of 4x over 3.
No, no, you need to move it under, remember?
Oh, no. Y is equal to f of x over 4 over 3.
Yeah, okay, when you move it under, you need to flip it.
Okay.
Yeah. So what story?
Oh, horizontally expand by 4 over 3.
Yeah, okay, 28.
Y over -1/2 is no, y is equal, yeah.
What's the thing that's movable to the y side?
Oh, the -2.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Y over -2 is equal to the absolute value of x over 2.
Yeah. Okay. 30 story. Caleb, your mic is off.
Oh, hello. Sorry. Yeah. No. Y over -1/2
Mhm.
is equal to the square root of x over -1.
Yeah, very good. And the story, what do you say?
Reflects over x and y.
Axis.
Yeah. Yeah. Reflects over x and y axis and vertically compressed by 1/2.
Yeah, okay, I think you get this now. Okay, so I'll return this homework back to you again. Okay, and please submit again. Okay, after the corrections.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, good.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Also, one more thing. We
Yeah.
also do the regular homework, right? There's
Yeah, of
homework
course.
today.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
will
okay,
sign
thank
it
you.
today. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Okay, you're welcome.